Time Warner Cable is pleased to be an underwriting sponsor for Carolina Week. From the James F. Goodman Studio in the School of Journalism and Mass Communication at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, connecting campus and community, this is Carolina Week.
Hello and welcome to this special edition of Carolina Week. I'm Adam Rue.
And I'm Carla Babb. Thanks for joining us. It hasn't been a good year for North Carolina State Troopers, and now the charges of misconduct have hit close to home. I went to Carrboro and found out the issues underlying this semester's scandals have been going on for years.
I felt like he was in between like snide and mean and like somewhat flirty. He made comments about my outfit, and I just probably would have rathered if he'd have just left me alone and gotten everything over with.
Trooper Scott Harrison pulled 25-year-old Abby Byram over 3 years ago. He's the Wake County trooper fired after evidence suggested he harassed young female drivers. The court later convicted Byram for a DUI that night, but she says Harrison targeted her after watching her walk to her car on Hillsborough Street.
He probably wouldn't have pulled me if he hadn't seen me walk across the street in, a short skirt and a tank top out celebrating the night I graduated.
Now, an Orange County trooper has resigned after 2 accusations of sexual assault. North Carolina Highway Patrol spokesman Lieutenant Everett Clendenin says these incidents don't represent a pattern.
We have over 1,800 troopers on the Highway Patrol. We don't believe there's a systemic problem. We believe this is just 2 isolated instances.
He says the state's Highway Patrol has handled recent cases properly.
We've done what we can do. They're no longer members of the Highway Patrol. Now it's up to the criminal justice system to take their part, do their part.
And that's reassuring to Byram.
And I think that they are all unfit to handle the responsibilities given to them by our governor. And I would hope that they would never work in North Carolina again, whether they resigned or were fired.
At least 2 other troopers have been charged with misconduct since the Carrboro incidents. Clendenin told me if you feel unsafe when pulled over, crack your window rather than roll it all the way down and go to a well-lit, high-traffic area.
Construction can be loud, annoying, and sometimes dangerous. Reporter Sierra Moore tells us why some of the remodeling on campus had some people talking this semester.
Carroll Hall hasn't been the same since 2 new construction projects got underway. The Haynes Classroom renovations and the Science Complex Phase 2 Cedarson addition. These projects will improve the structures of the buildings and add a new science building to the complex. But the extensive renovations have some students in Carroll Hall concerned about their learning environment.
When it's really loud, it's just, I can't think, I can't concentrate.
And the noise isn't the only concern. The potential health problems have teachers like Chris Roush asking questions.
The fact is whether the asbestos or any of the other hazardous chemicals are being sucked into our air vents in this building and we're breathing them.
All the air that flows through Carroll Hall passes through this vent. Now the question is whether or not that air is safe to breathe.
Deputy Commissioner for North Carolina's Division of Occupational Safety and Health, Alan McNeely, says this is a possible problem.
Most old buildings have it, past 60 or 70 years, everything was built with it because it was such a good product. But now that we're remodeling and doing things, it's a dangerous situation.
The Environmental Protection Agency says prolonged exposure to high levels of asbestos can lead to lung, chest, and abdominal cancer. But McNeely says it would be hard for asbestos from these projects to really affect the public because of the low level of concentration.
Most of the time that's confined. As you tear asbestos, it becomes friable, becomes loose, and it's inhaled. And if you're inside, it's a whole lot worse than if you were outside.
But he says that there's an active vent from Venable to Carroll. It could raise the risk of asbestos contamination.
But I would assume, and this is a big assumption on our part, that the general contractor would be doing things right and would seal up areas that would go to other buildings.
Director of Construction Management, Sid Stone, says crews are following the rules and no one should worry. But for now, construction continues. In Chapel Hill, I'm Sierra Moore, Carolina Week.
Contractors and other groups addressed the issues by installing new air ducts around the outside of Carroll Hall to help keep the air safe to breathe. In the past few months, we've all watched the debate about immigration reform divide Congress. Now the issue is causing a rift in the Carrboro community. Reporter Susan Tart is in Carrboro with more.
This street corner is where immigrant workers come to find work as manual laborers. But it's the workers who don't find work who are causing concern. The intersection of Jones Ferry and Davy Roads is a popular meeting spot. Immigrants in search of work meet people who need extra help for the day. Many times employers need only 1 or 2 workers, so many of these men wait for hours to get work, if they get work at all. Chris Kreutzer lives in the area. He says workers hang around when they don't find work, causing problems in the neighborhood.
Had a lot of trash. I picked up a whole, bunch of beer bottles and beer cans from my side yard here, and someone used my shed as a toilet one time.
None of the workers wanted to talk on camera, but I did speak with one man off-screen who wants the city to provide public restrooms.
Yesterday, police gave a man a $125 fine for peeing in the shrubs, but there's nowhere for us to use the bathroom. They don't permit us to go in the stores. We're here to work, but we must wait for work, so we need a bathroom.
A new ordinance prohibits workers from gathering in the area after 11 a.m. Board of Aldermen member Dan Coleman thinks the city can find a solution to the problem.
It's important for them to have the opportunity to find work, but we need to do it in a way that works for everyone in the community and that protects everyone concerned.
Carrboro is looking at other communities across the country with similar issues. One possibility is to build public facilities for the workers in a new location that's less congested.
Susan Tart reporting in Carrboro. Thank you.
Several apartment fires in the past few months have a lot of people worrying about protecting their belongings. Reporter Nick Kane tells us how.
Most don't think about it until it's too late. Renter's insurance could protect your belongings in the case of natural disasters and many unforeseen events, but most renters, and especially students, live without it.
Because I never thought about it. I always just thought it'd be cool how it was.
Nationwide Representative Beth Clayton says renter's insurance covers all disasters.
Fire, theft, vandalism, wind, hail, tornadoes, falling objects, sudden burst of pipes, sewer septic system backing up into your home.
Depending on how much your policy covers, renter's insurance usually costs between $10 and $20 a month. Clayton says it can protect you from lawsuits as well.
Someone was doing work inside your apartment, tripped over the vacuum cleaner, and decided to sue you for leaving that vacuum cleaner out. Your policy will pay for that lawsuit.
After setting up an insurance policy, renters must fill out a home inventory, which documents all of their belongings and their estimated worth. Policies can cover furniture, jewelry, appliances, and even cash and clothing. Some policies can cover laptops even outside of your home.
It covers you and the laptop wherever you take the laptop around the world.
Disasters like the one in Carrboro have got a lot of students changing their minds about getting renter's insurance.
Who am I to tell what's going to happen? I mean, accidents happen. Exhibit A.
Insurance policies are easy to get as well. Agents can set them up in less than a half hour and they go into effect immediately. UNC students are known for helping others.
Coming up, hear how this year's senior class is hoping to have an impact right here in Orange County.
Mother taught me. She's
averaging 18%. Balance the budget. Increasing clouds for...
UNC TV. Your remote stops here.
During the fall, one of the most peaceful places on campus is the Forest Theater. Many great plays are held in this place of serenity. But my favorite times are when nothing at all is going on, and the colorful canopy of leaves overhead shelters you from the cares of the world. No one knows the real Carolina like a student.
There's something about you, baby. I can't get enough. There's something about you, baby. I got you looking at me, I'm gonna call you bluff. There's something about you.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Have you been a dad today?
While many students take breaks on Saturdays, others give their time to help build a Habitat for Humanity house for a deserving family. Our Michelle Sapullo has more.
What does it take to turn this into this? It takes nails, plywood, and volunteers ready to work. The senior class is sponsoring a Habitat for Humanity house in Hillsboro.
Volunteers with Habitat for Humanity spend about 14 Saturdays building a house for someone in need.
Many are more than willing to give up their Saturdays for this cause. Lizette Lopez says the Carolina Hispanic Association was eager to provide its help.
They were looking for bilingual speakers so that we can actually interact with the house, like it's the house owner, so that's why they asked the Carolina Hispanic Association to do this. And I feel like the homeowners are really deserving, so that's why we came out.
The house is going to the Delgadillo family. They're a family of 5, and the father, Victorino, has been working to help build countless homes for others. He says this house is much more than a shelter to him.
He said for every Latino, it's a dream to be able to own your own home, and now his little dream is able to come true.
Senior class president Ashley Shores has been raising money for the event, including putting on a benefit concert Tuesday night at Memorial Hall. She says the family's gratitude keeps her hard work in perspective.
The parents would do anything for their children, and the mom kind of told us that she almost felt bad that they got picked to do this house because at least that they could provide some kind of shelter for their home or for their kids, and some people can't even do that.
The house will be finished by the end of April. Carolina students are working hard and making friends as they go. In Hillsboro, I'm Michelle Sapullo, Carolina Week.
The senior class will have more fundraisers during the spring semester to benefit this project.
This year, UNC is conducting a campus-wide discussion called Criminal Justice, the Death Penalty Examined. The series utilizes the arts to explore issues on capital punishment and our criminal justice system. Reporter Julia Ritchie has more.
The curtain opened November 12th for a play called Parade. It's based on the true story of a Jewish man who in 1913 was lynched in Marietta, Georgia, after being framed for the rape and murder of a 13-year-old girl. Junior Sean Casserly plays the main character, Leo Frank. He hopes the play will make people think about prejudice and the death penalty.
It was such an inflammatory case for not only litigation within the country in terms of like how trials were prosecuted and whatnot, but also it led to the resurgence of the KKK, and it just has so many implications, and it's all centered around this one act of lynching.
Project manager of the Criminal Justice series, Reed Culver, says these events aren't just about being pro or anti-death penalty.
It's rarely black and white. It's rarely yes or no. This is good, this is bad. And that's not what we're looking at, is whether it's good or bad. We're looking at all those gray areas in between.
The series is especially relevant here. Executions remain on hold because of legal challenges to the state's lethal injection protocol. More than a dozen states have stayed executions until the U.S. Supreme Court hears a case about whether lethal injections amount to cruel and unusual punishment. Junior Chris Dorman plays Leo Frank's defense attorney. He says in addition to sparking debate about the death penalty, these performances reveal the inadequacies of justice based on majority opinion.
Both of this and that show very much touch on how much people are willing to sacrifice in terms of losing or killing someone in the name of justice, where justice is such an uncertain thing and there's no true way to really prove whether or not it's executed right or not.
Parade is the last event in the series for this semester, but there will be 9 more installments next spring. In Chapel Hill, I'm Julia Ritchie, Carolina Week.
We'll keep you updated next semester about upcoming events in the series, including a lecture by Sister Helen Prejean, author of best-selling novel Dead Man Walking.
Lots of us travel during the holiday season, and we're usually in a hurry to get somewhere. Carolina Week's Rebecca McAtee tells us how taking just a few simple precautions can help save your life.
The North Carolina Highway Patrol says 20 people died on state roads this holiday weekend. That's up from 11 deaths last year. State Trooper Dustin Powell says troopers make an extra effort to be seen during the holiday season.
Well, just speed enforcement mostly. Just being out there is a big thing. When people see us out there with our blue lights on or on the side of the road or out there running radar, they're automatically going to slow down.
Carolina student Jesse Ross was a passenger in a crash in December 2005. The driver of Ross's car didn't notice traffic had come to a screeching halt.
And so I started screaming, and the boy that was driving slammed on the brakes, and the car started spinning around in like the middle of 40 and like then careened off the side of the road.
Ross says traffic wasn't the only factor behind her accident.
The speed limit is supposed to be what you drive under ideal conditions, and we were driving above the speed limit in less than ideal conditions since it was raining.
Powell says the best advice for holiday driving is to use common sense.
Of course, just obey the speed limits, wear your seatbelt, practice safe driving habits, use your turn signals.
Allow plenty of room in case you have to brake suddenly, and be extra careful when driving in bad weather. In Chapel Hill, I'm Rebecca McAtee, Carolina Week.
If you're in an accident, dial 911 or star HP and pull your car to the side of the road while you wait for help to arrive. NASCAR has a pretty big fan base in North Carolina, but did you know that some of NASCAR's greatest drivers got their start at a little track right down the road from UNC? Mark Alexic has the story.
It was hard to drive, it was real fast. Speeds at 120 miles an hour around dirt track is pretty tough, but these guys learned being moonshiners, the police chasing them and stuff, so hey, they earned it.
Frank Craig recalls the heyday of Hillsboro's Occoneechee Speedway. He was a part of it as a child.
I started coming when I was 5 years old in 1957 with my father, which he worked here at the track, and he worked security along with the local sheriff here.
Frank knows many Speedway stories, but the best way to learn about the Speedway is to see for yourself.
All right, ready to go to the Occoneechee Speedway? Come on, let's go. On a given Sunday, 2 given Sundays every year, 20 to 25,000 people would come in here, even before the interstate highways were built.
Years have passed since highway construction. The Speedway's final race was 40 years ago. In that time, nature ran its course.
All right, we're coming up on the straightaway. This is the area where you cross over into the pits, and it's all growed up, but you're going to have to imagine all these trees are gone.
When you see the old photos of it, when it was just clear land, and there were cars everywhere, and then you come here and you see how quickly Mother Nature reclaims.
From car traffic to foot traffic, a lot happened to the Speedway once it closed.
With the trees growing up and everything just going back to nature, that's what preserved the track. Neglect preserved the track.
Bill Crowther manages the Speedway property.
The job description is leave this place better than the way you found it, and I guess I am.
It might not be the Indy 500, but 40 years ago, this moss and tree-covered grandstand was a racing hotspot, and spectators came to witness the beginnings of professional drivers, including North Carolina native Richard Petty.
He said, I remember when the races were over here, it probably took 2 weeks for the dust to settle in Hillsboro. And that's a quote from Richard Petty himself.
You won't find Petty at the track today, and you have to look above the tree line to find the track's lights, full of bullet holes. And the old ticket office is now a danger zone. Frank wishes he could change the track's image.
Well, I want to go in with a bulldozer, take them all out, and have a race. But the property owner really doesn't want to do that, so I guess I got to do what he says. But, he don't know what I'm doing at night.
For now, Frank must relive the thrill of Victory Lane by walking down memory lane. In Hillsboro, I'm Mark Alexic, Carolina Week.
Local racing fans are trying to raise money to build a museum dedicated to the track. So far, they've raised more than $45,000.
And now we're joined by sportscaster Sarah Moore.
Sarah, it was an interesting season for our football team, and really that's about all I can say about it.
I think that we could all agree that it's interesting to say the least. Coming up in sports, Butch Davis's first season as Carolina's head football coach has come and gone. We'll take a look at the football team's ups and downs on the gridiron.
In my mind, I'm gone to Carolina. Can't you see the sunshine?
Here at Carolina, we are forging ahead in our tradition of cultivating leaders in research, teaching, and public service. As the nation's first public university, we are dedicated to setting the standard.
In my mind.
Hey, there are a lot of ways we can help our community. Spending our money in Orange County, whether it's filling up the car or shopping at local businesses, helps maintain our roads, improves our children's schools, and creates jobs. Spending your money locally helps us all in a big way. So remember, shop Orange first.
There's a trend among kids that's undeniable. When it's pretty outside, they play ball. When it's not, they play video games. For these kids, it's no different, only they're in the games they play. Jay Spence reports.
When Richie Rich and Chase Rice get together, you might as well throw the phrase friendly game out of the window, because competition among athletes doesn't rest. The game is NCAA 2008 football, a college football video game. The players are, well, these guys. So the question is, how would it feel if this was you?
Well, that was actually fun, actually have myself on the game to play with. That was kind of interesting.
Rice plays the video game to keep the competitive edge when he isn't on the football field.
I mean, it's kind of funny in the game. I'd be sitting there, I'd be a outside linebacker, and I'd look in front of me. I'd have people may not know what I'm talking about, but I'd have a 3 technique and a D end to my side, the 6 technique to my side, and I'd actually stay in the game like what our defense would do.
Rich says he never likes to lose to another member of the football team.
It's real competitive because nobody wants to lose, and I guess for like bragging rights, so everybody goes around bragging about who's the best.
Another form of bragging rights lies with the player's video game rating.
Well, this year I think it's an 81. I wasn't happy with that. I think it should be higher than that. I was planning on going out and playing a lot this year, playing well, and trying to get my ratings up next year, but I'll have to wait another year to do that.
Rice will have to wait because his season ended abruptly after he tore ligaments in his ankle in the season opener against James Madison University. Rice says he'll apply for a 6th year of eligibility following the season. For now, the video game will have to quench his thirst for competition. And as for bragging rights, Rice won this game 42-21. In Chapel Hill, I'm Jay Spence, Carolina Week Sports.
You can play NCAA 2008 on all Xbox and PlayStation gaming systems. From the virtual world to the real world, the football season is over, and despite lofty expectations following the arrival of Coach Butch Davis, UNC finished with just 4 wins. Reporter Josh Bernstein recaps the Tar Heels' trying season.
The final score and winner of the victory bell for one more year, Carolina 20, Duke 14.
Thanks to Greg Little, who ran the Tar Heels into the offseason on this 25-yard carry in overtime.
It builds a foundation for us. It lets us know what we need to do and ends the season on a positive note.
Their perseverance and their attitude this entire season has been absolutely remarkable, and it's been admirable.
Especially when considering the Heels were blown out twice this season and lost 6 games by a combined 24 points.
I just see big things for this happening for this program. I'm so proud of it tonight. I'm proud to be a part of it.
And that's not easy to say for a team that finished 4-8. All this comes in the midst of a controversy surrounding Butch Davis's new contract extension.
I want to make it perfectly clear. I really, truly love this place. And a year ago, when my wife and son and I decided to move to North Carolina, we moved here because we wanted to call this home. I'm excited that the administration, the current administration, the Board of Trustees, and the athletic department saw fit that they really truly believe that there has been significant growth and improvement in this football program.
Carolina fans hope that improvement results in at least a bowl bid next year. In Chapel Hill, I'm Josh Bernstein, Carolina Week Sports.
The football team hasn't reached a bowl game since 2004 when Boston College defeated UNC in the Continental Tire Bowl 37-24. Well, the good news for all the Carolina fans out there is that Butch Davis will be back again next year and for a while after that.
Yeah, and a lot of people are really going to be paying attention to how he performs after that contract extension, Sarah.
Thanks, Sarah. We've shown you a lot of extreme sports this semester.
After the break, we'll tell you about a place where some local teams are flying high.
It's great that the Salvation Army does so much for the needy during the holiday season.
But you know that isn't all the Salvation Army does. They also run Boys and Girls Clubs.
They also provide relief for those who need it after natural disasters.
And they help the homeless by providing temporary relief and shelter.
They even run summer camp for low-income children.
Need has no season. Please help the Salvation Army help others.
A day in the life of Chapel Hill Greenways, brought to you by Chapel Hill Parks and Recreation. For more information, please call 919-968-2784 or pick up a map at any town facility.
If you have a story idea, contact Carolina Week at 843-8292. You can also visit us online at carolinaweek.org. If you have questions about this program, write Carolina Week at Campus Box 3365, UNCCH, Chapel Hill, North Carolina, 27599.
If you're wondering where all those X Games stars are learning their tricks, you can find them practicing right in your own backyard. Reporter Amanda Pittman tells us about Chapel Hill's very own skate park.
If you're a skateboarder in Chapel Hill, chances are it's been hard to find a good place to drop into a quarter pipe or grind a rail. But Homestead Park off Homestead Road is the new hotspot for skaters. Chapel Hill Skate Park is the only place for skateboarders and inline skaters to bust out tricks in an enclosed area specifically built for them. Before it opened in 2006, Project 58 in North Raleigh was the nearest skate park. Skateboarder Corey Kirkland says he likes the park because it's close to his house and it's a fun place to do his favorite tricks.
There's too many bird slides, my favorite.
Sponsored by Vertical Urge, the Chapel Hill Skate Park is 10,000 square feet of concrete, surrounded by quarter pipes, and littered with fun boxes, grind rails, and volcano ramps.
Quarter pipes like these are what skaters use to drop into the park to begin their run.
Skateboarder Alex Laurent says the park is just a great place to hang out and enjoy yourself.
When I'm flowing on those ramps, I'm just thinking I'm a free bird. And back and forth, I'm on the ramps.
What the hell?
I'm doing kick turns. I'm just skating.
Vertical Urge is also using the park to sell merchandise. There's a small store where skaters can get new decks, trucks and wheels, shoes, or a snack. In Chapel Hill, I'm Amanda Pittman, Carolina Week.
The Chapel Hill Skate Park is open until 8 p.m. during the week and 9 p.m. on the weekends.
Former President Calvin Coolidge said, "Make it do, wear it out, use it up, go without." The men who work in the oldest business in Chapel Hill live by those words, and reporter Katie Miller has their story.
Most Chapel Hill residents think the Carolina Coffee Shop is the oldest business in town. But that honor belongs to Laycock Shoe Shop. The shoe shop opened in 1916. The third-generation store owners, Robert and Kimmy Dew, believe we should maintain our shoes, and not just buy new ones every few months.
You know, we should be better stewards of our resources. And so in that, this fits into my philosophy completely.
So for some, things never change. Shoe craftsman David Barnett works to repair heels, soles, and holes in our shoes.
Look at the difference.
Barnett studied shoe repair in South Carolina before moving to Chapel Hill.
It was a good thing to get into after we got out of high school because we didn't know what we wanted to do. I wanted to really become a professional ball player. That was my thing. But I became a professional shoe repairman.
A lot of Chapel Hill residents bring their shoes here, including some big-name soles. As a matter of fact, this is Coach Butch Davis's shoe.
So instead of throwing out an old pair, give this old-fashioned trade a chance. It might save you a few bucks. In Chapel Hill, I'm Katie Miller, Carolina Week.
What a really neat story, and what a really cool way to make a living. It's very interesting.
Definitely, except the fact that I really like buying shoes instead of getting mine repaired. I love getting new shoes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, that does it for this edition of Carolina Week.
Have a great break, and we'll see you right back here at the beginning of the spring semester.